guys. Hi, how are you? Oh, this is going to be exciting. So I showed you guys this talisman right here. And now I want to really talk to you guys about how I alter my sticks. Oh, I love sticks in my work. So I did get some good photos for you guys here. You can see I use all different kinds. I usually try to use a hardwood. This is where I actually am putting in all of my prayers. Anytime you see string in my work, I'm really wrapping prayers in, and I'm conscious of like what I want to say that month. So you can actually put words on here. When you think about working with sticks, it's like an object. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about objects, but when you're working with objects, and you're so whenever you're using like found objects, you want to really look at your object with a different eye. And instead of saying, what do I do with the stick? You want to say, what can I do with wood? So if you ask yourself that question, what can I do with wood? There's quite a few different answers for that. One, you could wood burn into it. You could carve it. This one is an example of something carved. It's a beautiful one. This is a personal one I keep myself. You could wrap it with yarns, wrap it with metals. You can see, with these, it's like they're wrapped, they're burned, they're colored. You could dye them. You could rub pigment into them. You could paint them, So, really anything, if you think of how do I work with wood, rather than how do I work with a stick. And that's kind of, what I'm doing here. So I want to show you guys, just altering sticks, and then you'll have a couple pieces that you have that are really your own pieces. This is actually a softer wood. It could be carved into very easily. The first tool that I want to show you that I do for wood burning, you could get a really nice wood burning set, and I do have a gorgeous wood burning set, but this actually was super inexpensive, maybe like $12 or $24, and this is a plumber's soldering tool. So it's kind of cool because it'll get hotter than a wood burning tool. Tandy Leather, of course, always has those really good tools. And let me get these out of the way a little bit. And I'm going to show you just how this works for burning. So it's like, when you're working with the soldering tool, you really just have a nice pointed end. But I really just like working with this pointed end anyways. When I'm working with my wood burning, you get a lot of different flat ends, but the hard part is that, you have to insert them, take them in and out. And when your tool is hot, it's not really that great to do. So this one I've had plugged in for a couple minutes, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. You could use the thick end or the thin end, just to really get in here and do some type of burning like this. I think I have it turned up all the way. The mastodon bone I found was really difficult to, let me see if I have it turned up. Here it is right here. Might have to turn it completely the other direction. Let's see. Oh, I do. This is 450, so I had it on the cool list. It's the tiniest little adjustments in here. Better to take a picture and then see your adjustments. So this is on 450 degrees. Give it a minute to get nice and hot. So it's like, these little dashes and dots and arrows, and I just kind of try to work. Oh, it smells so good too. So you just get this beautiful, beautiful smell working with your work. It makes you feel good when you're getting into all this nature. You see a little bit of burn on here. You can see I have it turned up all the way now to the 450. So, and you just have to still rest it in there for a little bit to get these nice dark spots. I like to kind of also go around and do cuts in here. This is a nice thick piece. There we go. Ooh, it's getting nice and hot. This is a softer wood, so I'm working a little quicker. When you get into hardwoods, you will have to just take your time with this, but just really, oh my gosh, if you're good at tattooing, wouldn't this be amazing with tattoos? You know, you can with your tips square off areas. And you just use your symbolism that you love. There's a nice little squares you can get in here. You know, I always work a little bit bigger when I am showing you guys. There was someone who was asking me to work smaller, but you know what? It's easier for the camera. You guys work tiny. I certainly have a lot of tiny ones. I'm trying to get an arrow drawn here. So get my triangle in nice and dark. So really, you know, your first step in thinking about working with wood is the surface. Now, you know, many times what I can do to get this shaped, if you look at your ends, you want to decide which end that you love. I think this end is really more natural and beautiful to me. So I'm going to actually just, you can either snip or cut, or you're going to get some areas like this etched out. And, you know, sometimes I'll go in and I'll burn the ends just to give a little different color. You know, you could actually, sometimes I'll work with a stick that's blackened and I'll take away from by scratching. So it's like there's so many different things you can think about doing with wood. But this is really the way. You know, I just started using this soldering iron because I can get it hotter than my wood burning. So that was super exciting. I like to work efficiently. Okay, you guys, here I am with the stick here. I actually cut off that really odd end and I just kind of filed it down a little bit because remember, our metal tools are pretty similar. So I wanted to show you guys, I brought over some pliers, but I also took a little, you know, just like a little bezel to slide this on, just for decorative. So I made like a little, how you would be setting around a stone, you know, just to kind of, for a nice idea here. So I'm actually put together this piece and let me see how I can get this on here. If it didn't slide on here so beautifully like this, remember one of my options that I could do is I can rivet through this. So I showed you guys riveting. So, you know, if my piece didn't fit right, I could just get in. I'm gonna just kind of burnish it on here. But, you know, if I wanted metal pieces on or one piece on the front, you always can rivet through here. And I'll show you a good rivet. I've got a piece right here. I'm gonna show you guys just these different cold joint attachments. I'll be able to show you guys these closer. These were some of my sticks that I did so many years ago that I just love, love, love. And you can see I put a little stack in here. At the time, it was like a bobbin and a bezel. I set a stone inside here. And I actually, inside of this bezel, I just set a rivet all the way down through here. There's also an area that I drilled here that I could, you know, really attach something swinging or some movement. So think about that in your work. How can you do your own piece? This is actually just some transfers that I put on and some paper that I have burnished on here really, really tightly. Some paints on here. You know, really it's like just treat it like wood. So to finish with this piece here, I'm gonna keep this piece on. I actually made a tiny little bezel cap for the top of it. Since I did my bezel cap out, you know, so small like that, I won't be able to draw a bead through here, but, you know, I'll probably just put a little glue on here to get this on. So here it is. It's getting closer and closer to, you know, really becoming something that, you know, not just a stick in my work. You know, I'm really making this my own and working on making it my own. So here I actually put together a couple different strings. This is actually a synthetic. Some of these are synthetic. I have a cotton large one. So in order to make these, I usually start with this wax linen right here, and the wax linen helps hold pieces in place. I only have about 4 or 5 other threads just because I want to do a lot of wraps on here to make it really beautiful. I think I'll start at the bottom. So this piece needs a little bit of decorative at the bottom. So I'm just gonna go ahead and knot this on in the first place, get a nice square knot on here. nice square knot to start with, and that'll hold it well. You don't have to have any glues or anything like that. You know, when you have so many though, you do have a little bit of a mess. Okay, so now I've got this going, and I'm gonna take my tail and finish wrapping this first. You know, and you could do a nice even knots. You can do some crazy wild knots. Once I get this all the way around, you wanna leave room for tying. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this tied on. You could leave fringe, you could take fringe off. These are really fun though. I really enjoy these sticks. And really remember, when I'm building my sticks, I'm usually with my threads, when I'm building my threads is when I just kind of do my meditations or my prayers in there. You could leave the fringe on if you wanted to. It's just a different look. Or you could snip it off. Okay. So usually when I have thread on my work, just to make sure that it holds still, this is a 22 gauge that I've hammered and drawn a bead on the end. I just hold this down on here to give some stability to the thread, you know, and really help this end get tied off. You know, if you like those X's on here, you can just bring it around on either side. And, I'm not gonna be able to pull it together on this side. So that means I'm gonna take it right here and lift it up, and I'm just gonna bring this other piece around and make it as tight as possible. Now these actually can be cleaned up on the jeweler's wheel, so you'd have no worries for any of this. So it's getting closer and closer. I'm gonna be able to hang this. It's getting closer and closer to where I wanna be. So I wanna think if I wanna maybe cut it shorter, I might cut this shorter. I don't know if I necessarily like the bottom of this, but I do wanna show you, I'll bring the torch over. You can just hit it with a little bit of heat. Here's my map gas. Usually if you're gonna do heat on the end though, you want to really do your heat before you do your wraps, but I can see I have a little bit of room. See, so you can really get a nice blackened where it doesn't, you know, it doesn't stay. So you can get a nice blackened. Then you want to make sure that you polish all of this up towards the end. All gets polished, because if this is really going to be worn, you know, as clothing, remember I have to get some glue on here, but if this is going to be worn, you know, as a wearable piece along with the others, you really want to make sure that you, that it's not going to rub off on your clothes when you're using objects. You can seal it up with, actually an Elmer's glue is a good sealant to give you a nice matte surface, but make sure you get all your colors and everything else you're doing on here. So that's what I want to show you about sticks. Just, you know, let your imagination run wild. Use the natural, now I'm all black. Use the natural variations that is on your stick, you know, leave pieces. I actually have to get over to the beach and do some hunting again so I can be ready. All right, you guys, enjoy this project.